Everyone thought Elena Voss was the luckiest woman in the city. She had married Adrian Vale, the young CEO who built one of the fastest-growing technology companies in the country, the man whose name appeared on magazine covers, the man investors trusted, the man millions of people believed could never lose. But what nobody knew was that Elena's marriage was never built on love. It was a deal, a one-year contract, a performance designed to save Adrian's empire. And when that year ended, Adrian planned to erase Elena from his life like she had never existed. What he didn't know was that the woman he was throwing away would become the one person capable of taking everything from him. Because Elena Voss was never just a wife. She was the person who understood his empire better than anyone. And one day, that knowledge would become his greatest mistake. 6 months earlier, Elena had been living a completely different life. She was not wealthy. She was not famous. She was not surrounded by powerful people. She was simply a woman trying to protect the only family she had left. Her younger brother, Daniel, had been accused of leaking confidential information from a major corporation. The evidence looked convincing. Too convincing. The problem was that Daniel was innocent. But innocence did not matter when a powerful company wanted someone to blame. The legal costs were destroying Elena's family. Their savings disappeared. Their reputation disappeared. And with every passing day, Daniel's future became more uncertain. Then Adrian Vale appeared. At first, Elena thought he was there to offer help. She was wrong. Adrian did not come with kindness. He came with a proposal. His company was facing a crisis. A competitor had spread rumors about Adrian's personal life, claiming he was unstable and incapable of managing a serious organization. Investors were becoming nervous. The board wanted reassurance. They wanted Adrian to look dependable, and Adrian had a solution. A fake marriage. 1 year. A carefully planned public relationship. After 12 months, they would quietly separate. Elena would receive enough money to save her brother. Adrian's company would regain public confidence. Everyone would get what they wanted. At least, that was what Adrian promised. "You help me protect my company," Adrian told her, "and I help you protect your family." It sounded simple. But Elena noticed something strange. Adrian was not looking at her like a person. He was looking at her like a business decision, a piece on a chessboard. Still, Elena accepted. Because when someone you love is drowning, you don't always have the luxury of choosing the perfect option. Sometimes you choose the option that keeps them alive. The wedding was private. No romance. No celebration. Only cameras. Only appearances. The world saw Adrian Vale finally settling down. They saw a powerful CEO with a beautiful wife beside him. Investors relaxed. The company's reputation recovered. And behind closed doors, Elena discovered something unexpected. Adrian's company was not as perfect as everyone believed. There were problems everywhere. Small mistakes hidden behind impressive numbers. Weak decisions covered by confidence. And Elena noticed them quickly. Because while Adrian was brilliant at creating opportunities, he was terrible at seeing the small cracks beneath them. One night, Elena found a serious mistake in one of the company's financial reports. A mistake that could have cost millions. She quietly corrected it before anyone noticed. When Adrian discovered what happened, he was surprised. "You fixed this?" Elena nodded. "I noticed the pattern." Adrian looked at her differently for the first time. Not as a contract, not as a fake wife, but as someone useful. And that was the beginning of Elena's biggest mistake. She believed being useful could make someone value her. Because Elena had spent her entire life believing that if she helped enough people, they would never leave her. She did not realize Adrian had never planned to stay. During those months, Elena also met Marcus Reed. Marcus was not like Adrian. He was quiet, observant, the kind of person who noticed things others ignored. He had once worked as a financial investigator before leaving the industry, and he immediately saw something wrong with Elena's arrangement. One evening, after watching Adrian dismiss Elena's contributions during a company meeting, Marcus asked her a simple question. "Do you know why Adrian keeps every old contract and document?" Elena looked confused. "What do you mean?" "Men like Adrian don't keep old papers because they are sentimental." Marcus looked at the office building across the street. "They keep them because information is power." Elena remembered seeing Adrian store old agreements in a private archive. At the time, she thought it was just another strange habit. She had no idea that habit would eventually become the reason he lost everything. Marcus gave her another warning. The person who controls information controls the truth. Elena remembered those words. She just didn't know yet why they mattered. The year passed quickly, and Elena believed the agreement would end peacefully. She was wrong. The day their contract expired, Adrian changed completely. The same man who stood beside her in front of cameras now refused to even stand near her. The same man who called her his wife publicly now acted like she was a stranger. Then came the announcement. Adrian's company released a statement. The marriage was over. But the statement did not tell the truth. It suggested Elena had only entered the marriage for personal gain. It suggested she had taken advantage of Adrian's position. The public believed it instantly, because Adrian Vale was respected, and Elena was just the woman standing beside him. Within hours, she became a villain. People online called her manipulative. They called her a gold digger. They said she had used Adrian. The truth did not matter. The story had already been written, and Adrian allowed it to happen. But the betrayal became even worse. Victoria Vale, Adrian's older sister, announced that an internal investigation had discovered financial problems connected to Elena's involvement. It was a lie, but it was carefully designed. Victoria had spent months preparing for this moment. She knew Elena was dangerous, not because Elena had money, not because Elena had influence, but because Elena noticed things. She saw problems others missed, and Victoria wanted her gone before she discovered the truth behind the company. Adrian believed Victoria. He always trusted family, even when family was the person destroying everything around him. Elena lost everything in a single week. Her marriage, her reputation, her future. The people who once praised her now avoided her. The man she protected now treated her like an enemy. And the worst part? She still had no idea why Victoria was so desperate to destroy her. Until one night, Elena found something hidden among the old documents Adrian had kept. A small detail, a forgotten agreement. a piece of information nobody else knew existed. And suddenly, Elena realized something. Her fake marriage had never been just a contract. It had given her something Adrian never intended her to have: power. But the question was, would Elena use that power to destroy Adrian? Or was there a bigger secret waiting behind the betrayal? Elena stared at the document in her hands. At first, she thought it was meaningless, a forgotten agreement, an old legal attachment from the early days of Adrian's company. Something Adrian had probably stored away and forgotten. But Elena had learned something during her year beside him. Adrian never kept anything without a reason. Every contract, every report, every conversation. He collected information because he believed knowledge was the strongest weapon in business. And now Elena realized something terrifying. The man who tried to erase her had accidentally left behind the one thing that could bring him down. The document was connected to the original agreement behind their marriage, but it was not a simple divorce arrangement. Years earlier, before Adrian's company became successful, he had created a protection clause for investors. A clause designed to prevent anyone from manipulating ownership during a major crisis. And because Elena's fake marriage was publicly tied to Adrian's stability, her position had been included in that protection agreement. A position nobody knew about. Not Adrian, not Victoria, not even the company's board. Elena was not just the woman Adrian abandoned. She was the person standing between him and complete control of his own empire. But there was one problem. Having power was not the same as knowing how to use it. And Elena knew Adrian would not fall because of one document. She needed proof. She needed timing. And most importantly, she needed to understand why Victoria had been willing to destroy her. Marcus was the first person Elena contacted. When he saw the document, he immediately understood the danger. "This changes everything," he said. Elena looked at him. "Can it clear my name?" Marcus remained silent. That silence told her everything. "Marcus." He placed the document on the table. "Elena, this is not just about clearing your name anymore." "Then what is it about?" He looked directly at her. "This is about exposing an entire system built on lies." For the first time since her downfall, Elena felt something she had almost forgotten. Control. Not revenge. Not yet. Control. Marcus helped her investigate quietly. They searched through old financial records. They followed transactions. They studied decisions made inside Adrian's company. And slowly, they found a pattern. The mistakes blamed on Elena were not random. They had been planned. Someone had been creating problems inside the company for months. Someone wanted Adrian weakened. Someone wanted him desperate. And Elena finally understood something. Victoria had not destroyed her because she hated her. She had destroyed her because Elena was standing too close to the truth. Months passed. But Elena did not rush. That surprised everyone. The woman who had been publicly humiliated disappeared. No interviews. No angry statements. No desperate attempts to prove herself. Nothing. Adrian assumed she had accepted defeat. Victoria believed she was broken. They were both wrong. Elena was rebuilding, quietly, patiently, because she knew something Adrian had forgotten. The strongest moves were usually made when nobody was watching. While Adrian focused on expanding his company, Elena began creating something of her own. She invested in small technology firms. She studied failing businesses and rebuilt them. She surrounded herself with talented people who had been ignored by bigger companies. And slowly, the woman everyone called powerless became someone investors wanted to meet. Her name started appearing again, but this time, not beside Adrian Vale, alone, Elena Voss, a strategist, a business leader, a woman who turned failure into opportunity, and Marcus was there through all of it. At first, he believed Elena needed protection. He thought she was someone who had been hurt by powerful people. But he slowly realized something. Elena was not waiting for someone to save her. She was becoming someone others needed to fear. One night, Marcus asked her a question. "Do you actually want to destroy Adrian?" Elena looked out at the city lights. For a moment, she said nothing, because the answer was complicated. She wanted him to suffer. She wanted him to understand what it felt like to lose everything, because someone more powerful decided your life was disposable. But another part of her remembered the man Adrian had been before ambition changed him. The man who stayed awake all night fixing problems. The man who once thanked her for believing in him. The man who was still somewhere beneath the person he had become. "I don't want him destroyed," Elena finally said. Marcus watched her carefully. "Then what do you want?" Elena looked back at him. "I want him to know exactly what he lost." And Marcus understood something. Elena's revenge was not about anger. It was about making Adrian face the truth. Meanwhile, Adrian became more confident than ever. His company reached new heights. The public forgot about Elena. The scandal disappeared, and Adrian believed he had won. Victoria encouraged that belief. She told him Elena was irrelevant, that she was no longer a threat. But Victoria made one mistake. She underestimated the person who understood their company better than anyone. Elena had spent 1 year inside Adrian's world. She knew how he thought. She knew his habits. She knew his weaknesses. And most importantly, she knew where he hid his secrets. 6 months later, Adrian prepared for the biggest announcement of his career. A global expansion, a new division, a chance to transform his company into an industry leader. Every investor would be watching. Every major news outlet would be there. It was supposed to be the moment Adrian Vale proved he was untouchable. But Elena was preparing too. She knew the perfect time had arrived. Because revenge was not about attacking someone when they were weak. Anyone could defeat a weak person. True, revenge was making someone feel invincible, then taking away everything they believed protected them. The night before the announcement, Marcus placed the final piece of evidence on Elena's desk. Once this goes public, there is no going back. Elena looked at the files. Inside were the records proving Victoria had manipulated the financial scandal. Proof that the mistakes blamed on Elena were intentional. Proof that Adrian's perfect empire had been protected by the very person he trusted most. Marcus hesitated. There is something else. Elena looked up. What? Marcus opened another file. This suggests Victoria may not have started this alone. Elena frowned. What are you saying? Marcus looked serious. Someone else wanted Adrian to fail. A cold silence filled the room, because if Marcus was right, then Adrian Vale was not the only person who had betrayed Elena. And tomorrow's announcement was not just going to destroy an empire. It was going to reveal who had been secretly controlling the entire game. But before Elena could uncover the full truth, the world was about to watch Adrian Vale's greatest victory become his greatest mistake. The day of Adrian Vale's biggest announcement arrived. The building was surrounded by cameras. Investors filled the conference hall. Executives sat in the front row. Everyone wanted to witness history. Adrian stood on the stage with complete confidence. The same confidence Elena remembered from the first day they met. The confidence of a man who believed he could control any situation, any person, any outcome. He smiled as the cameras turned toward him. Today begins the next chapter of Vale Technologies. The audience applauded. But Adrian did not know something important. The chapter he was about to begin would not belong to him. Behind the scenes, Elena watched the presentation begin. Marcus stood beside her. You still have time to walk away. Elena looked at the stage, at the man who once promised to protect her, the man who later destroyed her reputation to protect himself. No, she said quietly. Not anymore. Marcus nodded, because he understood. This was not about revenge alone. It was about truth. For months, Adrian had allowed the world to believe Elena was the villain. Today, everyone would finally see the person behind the lie. Adrian continued his speech. He talked about growth, innovation, the future. He talked about trust. That word almost made Elena smile. Trust, the same thing he had destroyed. Then Adrian reached the final part of his announcement. The moment where he planned to reveal a new partnership that would increase the company's value overnight. The investors leaned forward. The cameras focused on him. And then Elena walked into the room. The entire hall became silent. Adrian froze. For a moment, he looked exactly like the man she remembered. Surprised, uncertain, almost afraid. Then his expression hardened. Elena. His voice was calm, controlled. What are you doing here? Elena looked at the crowd, then at the cameras. I'm here because there is something everyone deserves to know. Victoria immediately stood up. This is inappropriate. Elena turned toward her. No, Victoria. Her voice remained calm. What is inappropriate is destroying someone's life because they discovered your secrets. The room went silent. Adrian looked between them. What are you talking about? Elena smiled slightly, the same calm smile Marcus had once warned him about. The smile of someone who already knew the outcome. A screen behind Elena turned on. Documents appeared, financial records, internal reports, private communications. The evidence Victoria had spent months hiding. The room erupted with whispers. Investors began reading the information. Executives looked at each other. Adrian stared at the screen, unable to understand how Elena had obtained everything. Then she revealed the first truth. The financial problems blamed on me were not caused by my actions. Another document appeared. They were created intentionally. Victoria's face changed, only slightly, but Elena noticed. She always noticed. The person responsible manipulated company decisions, redirected blame, and created a situation where Adrian would need someone to sacrifice. Adrian slowly turned toward his sister. Victoria? For the first time, Adrian looked uncertain. Victoria stepped forward. Don't listen to her. She is trying to destroy us. Elena looked at her. No. She paused. I'm showing everyone what you already destroyed. Then came the second reveal. The one Adrian never expected. The forgotten agreement. The document hidden among his old contracts. The document he kept because he never deleted information. The habit Elena had noticed during their marriage. The habit that became his downfall. Years earlier, Adrian had created a protection clause connected to company stability, a clause designed to prevent manipulation. And because his fake marriage was used publicly as a symbol of company confidence, Elena's position had been included. She was legally connected to the company's future decisions during a crisis, not because she wanted power, because Adrian had needed her image to protect his. He created the door. Elena simply opened it. Adrian looked at the document, then at Elena. You knew? Elena answered honestly. No. She stepped closer. I discovered it. That difference mattered, because Adrian finally understood. Elena had not planned this from the beginning. She had not entered his life trying to steal anything. She had saved him. And when he had the chance to protect her, he chose himself. Then Elena revealed the final piece, the one that hurt Adrian the most. A recording. A conversation between Victoria and another person. A conversation proving Victoria had not acted alone. The person who helped create the scandal had been someone inside Adrian's own circle. Someone who wanted control of the company after Adrian lost public support. The room became silent because the betrayal was bigger than anyone expected. Adrian looked at Victoria. Who else knew about this? Victoria said nothing, and that silence was enough. The board immediately called for an emergency investigation. Investors withdrew their support for Adrian's expansion plan. The announcement that was supposed to make him unstoppable became the moment his empire began to fall. But Elena did not celebrate. She did not smile. She did not enjoy watching him lose. Because standing there, she realized something. She had finally defeated the man who hurt her. But victory did not feel the way she imagined. Later that evening, Adrian found Elena outside the building. For the first time, he was not surrounded by assistants, not protected by his reputation, not hiding behind power. Just Adrian, the man she had once known. I was wrong, he said. Elena looked at him. 2 simple words, but they came years too late. You were. Adrian lowered his eyes. I thought if I removed you from my life, my problems would disappear, he paused, but you were never my problem. Elena said nothing, because she knew that was the truth. His greatest mistake was believing the person who helped him succeed was the person holding him back. Adrian asked the question he had been afraid to ask. Do you hate me? Elena looked away. I hated what you did. She paused. But I don't want to spend the rest of my life being controlled by what you did. Those words hurt him, more than anger would have, because Elena was free, and as he finally understood, he had lost something money could never buy, someone who believed in him before the world did. Months later, Elena's company continued growing. She became known as one of the smartest business leaders in the industry, not because she destroyed Adrian Vale, but because she built something stronger after he tried to break her. Marcus remained beside her, not as someone who saved her, but as someone who respected her strength. Their relationship developed slowly. No contracts. No fake promises. No pretending. Only honesty. Something Elena had wanted from the beginning. But just when Elena believed everything was finally over, Marcus returned with new information. The investigation into Victoria had uncovered another hidden connection. A name, company. A person who had been watching Adrian's empire for years. Someone who knew about the fake marriage arrangement before anyone else. Someone who may have planned Elena's downfall long before she ever met Adrian. Marcus placed the file on her desk. Elena opened it, and her expression changed, because the truth inside the file meant one thing: Adrian Vale may have betrayed her, but he may not have been the person who started it. And now Elena had a new question. Who was the person powerful enough to manipulate the CEO of an empire? Elena thought the battle was over. She had taken back her name, her power, and her future. But as she looked at the final file Marcus uncovered, she realized one thing. Adrian Vale may have betrayed her, but he may not have been the person who started everything.